Want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Really free on the road.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free to bring up whatever you want. We're talking about the right to bear arms, specifically in the state house. Now, this is something that, for most people, this isn't an issue. There's just no right to bear arms in the state house. Even though the constitutions claim you have a right to bear arms, they just exclude that, exclude the state house from that particular right. And some states, of course, are worse than others about this. But in New Hampshire, you can just walk into the state house, open carrying a weapon, and nobody will bat an eye at you.
That was true at one point. It is not true now, right?
Actually, it's absolutely true now.
Okay.
As I understand it, what they've done recently, now that the Democrats have taken in, they've swept in and taken control of the state house, both, I believe, the House and the Senate here in New Hampshire, they passed what's called a rule for the state house.
Right.
So the rule prohibits the carrying of guns. I don't know if it's just guns, maybe any weapon, but the carrying of guns inside the chamber of where they have their debating and where they do their voting. And then there's like a couple of other areas from which they're prohibited, but not from the actual like walking around the state house.
And this isn't just the dirty unwashed masses like us. This is state legislators.
This will mostly affect state legislators, although it will also affect anyone who wanted to be an audience in the chamber on any day in question. Now, whether they're going to be searching for those guns,
so I understand they're not, and
that's another question.
That's kind of what's covered here in the article.
So we're going to get back into that because you have a piece written by a state representative who's basically saying, he's going to break this rule, and we'll get into that coming up here in a moment. But I also want to let you know about the Escape Bag Blueprint. It's 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. It's a book written by former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author Jason Hansen. He's giving it away, and it covers the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis, things that can save your life in an economic collapse or grid down event at freeescapebook.com. The 37 items that he lists don't just come from some internet list. Instead, they come from Jason's experience as a CIA officer where he had escape bags. In his free book, he also gives advice on what are the best guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters to have in an economic collapse or grid down event. Get your copy for free at freeescapebook.com. That's freeescapebook.com. So Jess Edwards is a pretty liberty-friendly state representative ranked by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, which is a group that does rankings of all the 400 state reps and the 24 senators every single year. They vote based on, they give them a grade based on how they voted on various different issues. Now, if Daryl were here, he would quibble on the issues they choose and that it's not the best ratings, but it's the one we have.
Well,
and so,
it's no surprise that the former president of the Libertarian Party thinks that some other organization that represents liberty in New Hampshire might not have done it exactly right.
Well, he's got some really legitimate critiques. They leave out certain issues that, honestly, they shouldn't be leaving out.
The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance gets things done and has rated members.
No doubt.
Lots of members that
like
are
I
elected
said, they're
to the
only
House.
ones we have. So, well, actually, correction, the ACLU is now doing ratings as well. But either way, they're both good organizations and they do good work. So, what was it that he was writing to the Concord Monitor about this?
Well, the article here says, contrary to popular belief, the New Hampshire House will not be a gun-free zone. Any violent extremist who thinks that they can that we've become a soft target needs to reassess the situation. Many state representatives view the right of self-defense as a natural right, one that has been recognized by the NH and U.S. constitutions. Not that that particularly matters. You don't need documents, no matter what they're written on hemp or sheepskin or whatever, in order to make a right true, but nonetheless, that's correct. Our right to self-defense cannot be infringed by any government body. Due to our willingness to exercise our constitutional rights, and because any attempt to disarm House members is foolish public policy, we reserve the right to refuse to comply. We are not talking about an imaginary threat. The political climate has been growing more violent, such as the act of politically involved shooter James Hodgkinson. Is that the one that shot him at the softball game?
I don't know.
The Republicans. Some seem to be forgetting that he showed up while a major political party was practicing for a collegial baseball game. Many know that Congressman Steve Scalise was critically wounded. Nearly all seem to be oblivious that Hodgkinson was there to assassinate as many congressmen as he could. Had it not been for good fortune, that field would have been a gun-free. That field would have been a gun-free zone, allowing the assassin to fully execute his plan. State Rep. Janine Notter reminded us of the brutal fact that 98% of mass shootings are taking place in areas that politicians have declared to be gun-free zones.
Sure, like schools.
While normal people hear the term gun-free, the mentally ill or politically agitated hear the term soft target. Terrorists seek out high-value, soft targets to achieve maximum political effect. It's what they do. And this is a really important point for those that would legislate against people carrying weapons. Yeah, I understand why you don't think it's a good idea for, say, college students to carry guns on college campuses. I get it. I tend to feel the same way. But I understand what a feeling is, and I understand what logic is. And I'm not going to live my life controlled by my lizard brain, worrying, right? Like, that's what we're talking about here. You think that you can write a rule and somehow, well, that's it. Now the bad guys aren't going to do their thing. And the Democrats have a good point. There have been some accidents in the state house. Some people have dropped guns.
That has happened, yeah.
Yep. And they pick them up and they put them back in their pocket. Because guns, unlike on the movies, tend not to go off, especially...
They can, though.
They can.
They can. It happened at a gun show I was at once.
Yep.
Scary.
Yeah.
Very scary. Somebody dropped a gun, and it landed in whatever way that the hammer was already cocked back, likely on that person's gun.
Should have been.
Oh well, many carriers will carry a gun with the hammer cocked, ready to go. They're ready to pull that sucker and squeeze off the first shot as quickly as possible, and they rely on the safety on the gun to stop that from happening in an instance of a drop. But there's that right angle of the right force that could make that safety fail or something like that. Somehow, this gun went off in the middle of a gun show when I was down living in Florida. I was doing a Libertarian Party outreach booth back then, and thankfully no one was hurt in that particular instance, but that's only pure chance in that case.
It's pure chance, and it was pure chance that the gun went off too.
Yep.
So it was unlikely that the gun was going to be dropped. It was unlikely that the gun was going to go off when it was dropped, and I'm not going to call it unlikely that the bullet would strike somebody.
It was probably a 1,000,000 to 1 chance, but it did.
Yep. I don't know about 1,000,000 to 1. I wouldn't be able to say that, but it's certainly unlikely. And it still doesn't change that outlawing guns.
Correct, yeah.
Like, this is the worst thing you can do. Like, he's just saying, well, nope, no guns here. Because then the people with the guns who want to use them for nefarious purposes are going to go to where you are. You've just said there's nobody who's going to shoot them. And that's a really important thing to note here. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Don't just pass no gun rules. That's crazy.
Okay, so he's going to get into what's going on here, right? As far as he is speaking for others. He's saying we.
Yep.
So presumably he and some of the other state reps are going to disregard this particular rule of no guns. So I want to hear more about that because I do love a good civil disobedience, and this sounds like it qualifies. More coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Also, there's our Discord on-air call-in line rooms, open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. We're talking about civil disobedience from some of the more unlikely of people to participate. State representatives now announcing through at least one representative in a letter to the editor in the Concord Monitor in New Hampshire that they are going to be disobeying the new rule that was passed in the State House by the new Democrat-led state representatives to prohibit the carrying of firearms within the State House chambers, which is, of course, where they spend most of their time. They spend a lot of their time. There's also the committee rooms, and I think they're prohibiting them from the committee rooms as well, but I'm not sure on that. But they're definitely going to prohibit them from the actual big room where all 400 state reps sit and stand and argue and discuss things and vote on stuff.
I mean, that's really unfortunate because if for some reason you needed to shoot a bunch of politicians, that would be the place you needed to go to do it.
At the best of my knowledge,
it's okay. They're not prohibiting bombs. It's just guns.
The best of my knowledge, that at this point there's been no one brandishing a weapon. It's been completely
there's no
legal.
issue.
There's completely illegal, completely legal in the state of New Hampshire for your average citizen to walk into the State House carrying a gun on their hip and just go and watch the proceedings that occur.
Yes, no one I've been in a lot of these proceedings, and I've never seen anybody brandishing a gun. Even though I've seen guns on people's belts, nobody has ever pulled the gun from their belt and attempted to intimidate the state representatives or threaten or yell, shout from the balcony or anything like that. There's never been any kind of issue like
and
that.
Considering it's an organization that threatens violence against the citizenry of New Hampshire on a regular basis, you would think somebody would have pulled it out and just used it as an analogy. See, I have an implement of force here too, whatever. I'm not advocating that, mind you.
Get into the state representative has an opinion about this, and he's announcing basically that he's going to be participating in civil disobedience on this issue. You've got the letter. We'll continue that here, but I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. That's your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. They can help you choose a Bitcoin wallet, buy Bitcoin, maybe you've never had some before, and show you where you can spend your Bitcoin. Plus,
by the way, when you buy Bitcoin, you don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. A lot of people are like, oh, Bitcoin's $4,000. I don't have $4,000. I can't buy a Bitcoin. That's not true.
You can get a fraction
buy
of
a tenth of a Bitcoin for $400, or
you can buy a hundredth of a Bitcoin
for $40.
Yeah, so it's up to you. Bitcoin.com also has a great academy where you can learn the basics about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So get started over at Bitcoin.com as we go to your calls and thoughts. He is Matthew in Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Aria, and Mark.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Welcome.
Talking about civil disobedience, you should look at what they're doing in New Jersey with the gun magazine confiscation law.
Oh, no.
No magazines have been turned in yet.
Really? Is this new? Is this something that recently happened down there?
Yeah, it went into effect, I think, a couple of months ago. Their laws go into effect at different times, and, the first of the year is just typical. And as of yet, zero compliance.
Excellent.
Our great leaders pass a rule that's only intended to keep us safe, and then those ruffians in New Jersey don't turn over their magazines.
I'm surprised because there were some people who turned in their stuff in Connecticut. Remember the story where after the shooting down there at the school, Connecticut made a crackdown on certain. I think they made it so you can't have magazines above.
They required registration, and they got they could only estimate what it was, and they figured that only about a third to a quarter of all AR owners and AK owners and high point carbine owners actually went and registered their weapons. So.
Okay. But there were still people standing in lines to go and register in Connecticut, so I'm surprised the same thing didn't happen in New Jersey, given how just beaten down and obedient the people are in these states.
If there was a fee for registration, the High Point people couldn't afford it anyway.
No, so they wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
So this morning I heard a Michael Savage fan calling up on Jeff Carrera's show on WGSO, complaining about having to listen to 1 hour of Free Talk Live.
Oh.
And I'm thinking to myself,
wait, did GSO put us in for Savage?
Yes, y'all are on at the 11 o'clock hour because that was when they do a lot of vanity shows. You got $250 an hour to spend.
They'll put you on the air.
Radio show.
Yep.
That's right.
That's how a lot of stations pay the bills.
Congratulations, you're a radio star.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, y'all take calls all the time from people who disagree with y'all. I mean, like me, for instance. And y'all generally are not disagreeable. Whereas I listened to Michael Savage on occasion when I finally got tired of his shtick of just beating up on other radio talk show hosts. And he gets a caller who disagrees with him, and he goes off on him. I'm like, wow, there was not a bit of logic in that. But he never repeated an insult twice.
So what was this guy complaining about exactly? I mean, he called a local show on WGSO to complain that Free Talk Live is now airing where Michael Savage used to be airing?
Yeah, and I'm like,
I love
so
that.
tomorrow I will call him and say, hey, be glad at least they'll take your calls.
Well, also mention that it's not like there is an hour of Michael Savage to take. Right? I mean,
he's gone.
There's not a live hour.
There's one live hour.
Yeah, he does have one live hour.
Right.
And they squeeze him in where they can. I mean, I don't know what his contracts are like. But
he ought to be calling up Savage and complaining that Savage cut his show back. I mean, if he's mad that Savage isn't on.
Well, the guy's 76. I mean, let him have a little rest. I don't understand.
Well, he can do whatever he wants, Mark. I'm just saying, if this caller's upset at the station had to fill airtime.
Yes.
Savage was not offering an hour in that airtime, so if he wants to be mad at somebody, get mad at Savage. Savage is the one who's cut his show back, and he's now gone into hiding, by the way, because apparently somebody threatened his life and threatened the lives of people that go to a restaurant that he goes to. So there was a news story recently, I think the New York Post covered it. Somebody sent a threatening email or letter or something to a local restaurant that will do business with Michael Savage. Basically, it was all in capital letters, lots of cursing, basically saying if you keep letting Savage eat at your restaurant, they're going to come in and shoot the place up and kill innocent customers, was essentially what the person said.
Of course, that has the effect of making it so the restaurant doesn't want to serve Michael Savage.
That was the idea.
Yeah, which is certainly, it's a...
Well, another thing, too, though, is as of late... I don't know how many calls Michael Savage takes.
Probably not many.
Yeah. The industry has moved towards not taking calls the whole time we've been on. It's just become less and less frequent for hosts to take calls. Calls are wild cards. I mean,
listen to our show last night.
You've got to know what you're talking about.
We had at least 3 F-bombs that we had to dump off the show last night.
Yep, there's that.
Yeah.
But
there's galactose.
Yeah. The other thing is that a talk show host is supposed to hold themselves up as this amazing fount of knowledge. Now, I try to avoid that, but I'm kind of a know-it-all by nature. And sorry.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's not too hard to listen and figure that out. But, nonetheless, you could call in and talk about things that I just have no idea about. And then I suppose that might besmirch my good name before some of the listeners, I guess. I mean, I don't know. If they think I know anything about, I don't know, entertainment or sports, they're just wrong.
Hey, Matthew, thank you for the call. Thank you for the heads up.
Directional drilling, indeed.
On the info. We'll definitely get in touch with WGSO and see if they need anything else from us. It's great to know that we're on there. It's been a big week for Free Talk Live because Savage cut his show back. A lot of our existing affiliates, last night 3 of them, expanded their coverage to include weekdays. So they used to just be weekends, now they're weekdays. So welcome aboard to all our new listeners. And yes, you can call in about anything you want on Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us right here. Our number's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms open and available to you at discord.lrn.fm. What is Discord? It is a chat system that is free to use. It's actually been about a year now since we started our Discord, and I'd like to thank everybody who has been participating there. It's a lot of fun.
Hundreds of people are signed up.
There are, actually, we got close to 1,000 within the last month, but every time we get close to 1,000, I just do a purge, and I get rid of all the accounts who haven't logged in the last 30 days, because I want to keep things fresh. I want to keep the user list as accurate to who's using the site as possible. If you logged in a year ago and you never came back, do you really need to have an account there? So we actually have a pretty active user base, because when I did the purge, we were still at around 600. So 6/10 of the users had been there in the last 30 days, and so right now it's like 550 out of 600 or so have been there.
Can you send any kind of message to everybody who's signed up for your Discord?
You can, but it's generally not something that you're supposed to do, because it's annoying, right? Like if you can do an @everyone tag on Discord, and that's supposed to do that.
I did it by accident once. I meant to use @here.
Which notifies everyone who's in the channel, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Everyone who is active, I think. I don't think it flags people if they're inactive. But it basically just caused a total crap storm. Unhappy people. Why did I get tagged in this? Like, dude, chill out. I mean, how hard is it to click away the notification? Come on, chill.
Well, if it happens a bunch, then it could be annoying, right? Yeah. So, yeah. But discord.lrn.fm is how you can get there to get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners. And also it's not just a Free Talk Live Discord, it's the Liberty Radio Network Discord. So when Aria's show is on, which it was for only one segment today due to a health situation that Will had to deal with.
Which is unfortunate. Today is our 1-year anniversary.
Really?
Daily, yeah.
Wow, you're right about that.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. The Call to Freedom is also on LRN, and so during that show, there's people in the chat room talking about what's going on the Call to Freedom. So there's an on-air now chat. There are chats for cryptocurrency, for gaming, and for other topics there, as well as some not safe for work chats, so beware of those.
That happens.
Over at discord.lrn.fm. Let's continue here with your calls and thoughts. We go to Steve in Iowa, listening online. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, I was going to call in and ask a question and begin a topic.
Here you are.
All right, so I was going to ask a question about you guys. I can't tell. I've been listening to the show for a few months, and I can't tell if you guys are conservative or libertarian.
What confused you about that?
Just because you guys take certain stands on, like, gun policies and, like, the president himself, like, you guys criticize him sometimes, so...
Right. Well, libertarians and conservatives tend to agree on gun policy, and libertarians and conservatives tend not to agree on the president.
Well, how about other issues where we disagree with conservatives, like drug freedom, the freedom to own your own body, for instance.
Right. Conservatives tend not to agree that you can smoke some pot there at your house and enjoy that on your own. But libertarians do.
Okay.
So, yeah, we are definitely a libertarian show, arguably the most of any show that calls themselves libertarians. We are the real deal.
All right. Yeah, that's what I had figured. Just I wasn't for sure.
There you go, Steve.
But, all right, so my topic that I wanted to start with was the size of my penis.
Yeah, great. Well, you're not going to get on the radio with that particular topic. I'll leave you on the internet, though. Thanks for the call. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Because this is a radio show, and while we don't have a problem talking about that issue, It would be more appropriate for tonight's after show on Twitch. Right. So the person would like to talk about how well endowed he is, and he's welcome to call and brag all he wants.
Are we doing an after show?
If you would like.
Sure.
Okay, so tonight, the Free Talk Live, Freer Talk Live will be on Twitch only.
Right.
Over at twitch.lrn.fm. And this is something we've been doing over the last basically 2 months or so. Not quite 2 months, maybe. We started, I think, late November.
It's also worth pointing out to the Twitch users, because they just don't seem to get it, is you're not going on the radio.
Well, he was on until he said the thing he can't say on the radio.
You say the thing you say, and then we got a dump button. That doesn't mean you get hung up on. That means you get hung up on, and we time travel back 3.5 to 7 seconds, and your stuff is just lost. Poof. Now, on Twitch, it seems like you got what you came for, but that's not true because we don't have a dump button for Twitch and wouldn't have it if we had to.
It's not even worth. I mean, it would cost some significant amount of money to do some kind of a video dump.
Yeah.
And Twitch just, it isn't worth doing because what you said doesn't violate Twitch's terms of service. So it's like, whatever. Okay, the 10 people watching us on Twitch just got to hear you there. Toll-free number, 855-450, free like freedom. Let's go to Rev. But that number will go up to like 30 tonight. So you'll actually have a greater audience to hear you talk about yourself and how well endowed you are.
Yeah, I should have said, I can't wait for one of them to call in, like, I'd like to discuss the size of my, and whatever. And
go right ahead. Let's hear all about it.
Are you going to break into tears, pal?
Hello, Rev. You're on from Florida. Go ahead. Listening on the TuneIn app.
How's it going, Rev?
Hi, gentlemen. All physical exams aside, those sound like a lot of fun. I wanted to touch on a point that I got cut off on last week, but I understand because it was a really good topic about crypto. Let me make the first relevant one real quickly, and I'll get to the important one. So you were talking about these, I believe, representatives, politicians of some sort, that were resisting this little seemingly tyrannical or, at very minimum, encroaching quote rule, right? And,
I am interested in hearing what you have to say, but there's a noise on the line, Rev, that's driving me up the wall, and so I'm going to put you back on hold. I'm curious to hear what you have to say, but I'm going to suggest that maybe you try a different line. It almost sounds like there's some interference coming in from something
sounds like
else.
An old bad wet line.
It sounds like a landline, but people don't call it landlines anymore, so it sounds like a bad landline.
It does.
Or you're on a cell phone, but you're near like a transmitter or something that is interfering with the signal.
Sounds like you got a landline and you live in a swamp.
Yeah. Well, he is in Florida, so technically he's probably in a swamp.
No.
But no? Florida's mostly a swamp, isn't it? Technically?
No.
No? Why not?
Well, because the limestone is above sea level, that doesn't make it a swamp.
I thought all of Florida was basically, the whole thing was below sea level at one time, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So was much of the United States. That doesn't make Florida a swamp.
You're just trying to feel good because you used to live there, as
did you. You should know it wasn't a swamp.
Well,
it probably was at one point, but it is not a swamp.
Okay. Well, former
inaccurate
swamp.
to call Florida swamp.
It's a nicer looking swamp.
Yeah.
They've cleaned it up a bit. Keene's technically a swamp, from what I understand. Here in New Hampshire, we're in a valley, and if it weren't all cleaned up and concretized, it would be a swamp, basically. Nope. No, you don't think so?
No. This isn't the Ice Age anymore, okay? Just because something was a swamp at one point doesn't mean it is a swamp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They put concrete everywhere and made a city out of it.
Go lay on your grass on a dry summer day and tell me if it's a swamp or not.
So anyway, toll-free number here tonight, 855-450, free like freedom. I'm telling you, man, if you let the nature take back over, it would become a swamp again. I guarantee you.
You're wrong.
All right. Well, you're wrong about that.
All right,
I mean, are we dealing with an actual swamp or what the technical definition of a swamp is? Because Antarctica is technically a desert, right? But there's no sand.
Because there's no rain?
Yeah.
That's a good argument.
Is that the kind of swamp that Keene is? It's technically a swamp.
Well, we don't have alligators up here, but I don't know if you need to have those.
I'm not sure that alligators are what define a swamp. No. And up here we call it a bog anyway.
Is that right?
And it's not wet. Swamp suggests a wetland, and it's not.
I thought the difference between a swamp and a bog was that one had primarily salt water or something like that.
Ooh,
that'd be a salt bog.
These are good questions. So we'll see if we can figure that out. Rev,
I think it's a regional difference.
I hope we can get Rev back on the line here. Maybe he can call in since he's got it says here he's listening online. Maybe he could get on our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And so anyway, Mark, you had a story from this state representative. Let's continue that if you've got it pulled up still. He said he's addressing the ban on the state reps and the public having guns in the state house chambers, and says what?
I want to talk about marshes, bogs, and stuff.
All right, let's get the definition then.
A marsh is a nutrient-rich wetland that supports a variety of reeds and grasses, while swamps are defined by their ability to support woody plants and trees. Bogs...
Dude, it's a swamp right over there, man.
There's a river over there. That's not a swamp. It's a river.
Sure, but it's wet and it supports trees.
Right. The definition said nutrient-rich wetland.
Yeah.
Okay? So...
It rains a lot here. And it rains.
I wanted to finish up what a bog
It'll rain
is.
for days on end here in Keene, New Hampshire.
And let's see. Bogs.
It's beautiful.
Bogs are characterized by their poor soil and high peat content, while fens have less peat and more plant life than a bog.
What is a peat?
What is peat?
What is peat?
It's a type of moss.
Yeah, deteriorated stuff.
I see. Yeah, I don't know if I would recognize it if I saw it, because I know what the moss looks like in Florida, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's Spanish moss. That's different. It's not even moss.
All right, so there's more coming up here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. I still stand by my swamp definition here.
I just don't care.
It's Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is next. Yes, you do care.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.62 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,281 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.46 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,073. Antiwar.com reports after focusing last week on the U.S. slowing down the Syrian withdrawal, John Bolton's comments over the weekend about the pullout being conditional is adding questions. Many make it unclear if the pullout is happening at all. The White House seems determined not to really clarify the matter at all. On Monday, their new statement claimed that Trump's position is unchanged. Since Trump has repeatedly scoffed at media reports trying to guess what his position on Syria actually boils down to, that's not very enlightening. To the extent they elaborated at all, they again emphasize that the process is slow and will take time to make sure the troops are safe. There's no timetable, and it is expected to take several months. With the Syrian Kurdish plans resting heavily on what happens with the pullout, they are pushing the matter with the U.S., asking for clarifications on the exact intentions of the U.S. going forward, noting that the U.S. has not informed them of any changes yet. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute on Monday withdrew an award set to be presented to activist Angela Davis next month. The institute issued a statement announcing it had rescinded its invitation to recognize Davis with its Fred Shuttlesworth Human Rights Award after receiving a request to reconsider granting her that award. The Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's board said in late December, supporters and other concerned individuals and organizations, both inside and outside of our local community, began to make requests that we reconsider our decision. Upon closer examination of Ms. Davis's statements and public record, we concluded that she unfortunately does not meet all of the criteria on which the award is based. The board voted to rescind its invitation Friday and also canceled the associated gala event scheduled for February 16th while offering full refunds to those who purchased tickets. Davis, who was born in Birmingham, has been a member of the Black Panther Party and the Communist Party USA, and her calls for divestment and boycotts against Israel on behalf of Palestinians were cited by the Jewish community as a reason for the board's decision to reconsider its decision to present her with the award. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General asked federal election officials on Monday to investigate allegations that the 2017 U.S. Senate election that Republican Roy Moore lost to Democrat Doug Jones was tainted by use of misleading social media campaigns. Attorney General Steve Marshall has said he was concerned over tactics used in the election. Jones, a former federal prosecutor, became the first Democrat in a quarter century to win a U.S. Senate seat in the state when he upset Moore by a narrow margin to win the seat formerly held by Republican Jeff Sessions. The New York Times reported on Monday that Democratic operatives had sought to undermine Moore by creating a Facebook page claiming that his supporters wanted to ban alcohol in the state. The newspaper has previously reported that Democrats created a separate false flag Facebook page that portrayed Moore as supported by Russian bot accounts. Mike Lewis, a spokesman for the Republican Attorney General, told Reuters on Monday the Attorney General's office has evaluated reports of possible deception in the Alabama U.S. Senate race and has determined the matter to be under the exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Federal Election Commission. Lewis said, accordingly, the Attorney General has requested the FEC officials investigate the matter to determine if any federal laws were violated. Moore, whose campaign was marred by allegations that he sexually assaulted and pursued teenage girls while in his 30s, refused to concede the election to Jones and filed an unsuccessful legal challenge to the results, claiming voter fraud. Moore, a former state chief justice, has denied any sexual misconduct or wrongdoing, and Reuters has not been able to independently verify the allegations. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Robins inculcate their young with these twisted maws. We see an adult robin feeding its young with the ripped-apart viscerae of an innocent worm. Like the Greek hero Atreus eating the flesh of his children at his own table, this black deed must surely curse the entire species. Even the most depraved acts of humanity pale in comparison to the robin's wickedness. Like idiot rapists, they commit their foul deeds with neither foresight nor hindsight. They live entirely in the present. Living beyond space and time, their god is the awful seething maelstrom of chaos at the center of the unfeeling universe.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, launching into the second hour here. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
And you can bring up anything. That's the point here. But we were just, in the first hour, we never really got into I don't think the meat of this letter to the editor, as written by a state representative here in New Hampshire, saying essentially, I mean, I haven't heard it yet, but my understanding is he's pledging to commit civil disobedience by continuing to bring a gun into the state house after the new Democratic state representatives have voted to change the rules in the state house to disallow. So until basically the first week in January, it had been allowed that you could have a gun in the state house chamber. And now they have disallowed that. But this state representative is saying he's not going to respect that rule.
He says that 98% of mass shootings are taking place in areas that politicians have declared to be gun-free zones.
Mm-hmm.
So goes on. Reps Alicia Lekis, Stephen Smith, and Kim Rice spoke to real threats and acts of violence communicated to NH representatives and others. Indeed, Representative Lekis took to the well to share a personal story of being chastened by a ne'er-do-well and how she was, chased by a ne'er-do-well and how she benefited by being protected by a parking lot attendant who, fortunately, was nearby. Last term, New Hampshire passed constitutional carry because we know what a firearm in the possession of a threatened person, that it's, in fact, a great equalizer. One may ask, what about Rule 63, the effort to disarm all representatives without qualification? There's sound arguments that the NH House makes its own rules on proceedings, but does not have the authority to strip representatives of their rights. NH courts are unlikely to enter the fray, given that we are a separate and co-equal branch of government. They
call themselves the General Court here in New Hampshire, so technically they're considered their own kind of court in some way. I don't understand it, but that's what they do.
The only likely course is our own action. Rather than getting bogged down in a legal discussion, let's revisit the works of Henry David Thoreau in his 1849 little-known book, A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers. He wrote of his travels from Concord, Massachusetts to Concord, New Hampshire. We should metaphorically drink from those waters as we take a page from one of his greatest works, Civil Disobedience. There are times when the acts of a majority are so repugnant.
This is a quote from Thoreau?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have quote marks around it, but I presume that's what it is. So repugnant to the dignity of the individual that the act itself is cast asunder. The act removes itself from the realm of legitimate government authority and is to be ignored, if not openly held in disdain. Now, here today in America, we really can't determine what is repugnant to the dignity of the individual. We just don't agree on that. But what we can agree on is that this nation was founded by people who are willing to cast aside the authority of governments.
Yeah, and commit civil disobedience to the point of losing their homes and their families and their lives.
And no one will call in and say that somebody should obey the law no matter what.
Oh, people have called to say that.
When confronted with the idea of escaped slaves, none of them will do that. No one will say, well, escaped slaves should have just stayed held by their masters.
I don't know. Maybe they won't call into the show to say it, but they will certainly be out there saying it.
We did have
I have
somebody.
Seen people say such things.
Yeah, and we
had somebody that said that they would turn them in.
Yeah, because that was the law at the time, so that's what they would have done.
I'm glad that person, when caught in their, inconsistency, had the consistency to say, yes, I would be consistent. However, they really just show how insane the position is.
Oh, yes. It was quite useful to have them say that.
The idea that this is a nation of laws is contrary to history, contrary to sanity, contrary to good sense. Sorry. This is a nation built on morality and people who are willing to stand up for what's right, not a nation of laws. If it was a nation of laws, the politicians would follow their own rules.
And they don't.
And they don't.
The laws exist for you and I, but not really for them.
Right. The laws are rules for the tax cattle. That's what you are, yes. Thoreau had libertarian sensibilities, and many of his writings resonate today. Unfortunately, the nation has lost touch with much of the spirit in which he wrote. For more modern reference, let's look at how our country reacted to the My Lai massacre. The massacre occurred 50 years ago at the hands of U.S. forces and became a key reference point in military training to teach our service members that there is a duty to disobey an unlawful order. I think that that's the most ridiculous statement. Like, you're going to take an 18-year-old private, put a gun in their hand, and then expect them to act like a 40-year-old attorney and determine what is a lawful order and what isn't? Come on. That's a cop-out. It's a cop-out.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's the case that every 18-year-old has no moral compass. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I just don't think they're qualified. It takes.
I don't think it takes much qualification to say, "Hey, no, I'm not going to shoot this 6-year-old."
Well, yeah, okay. So you're taking the end, right? The My Lai massacre certainly is the very end. But how do I, as an 18-year-old who just recently signed up for the military, determine on every order I'm given? I presume they're given several a day.
Well, aren't they explicitly taught in the military not to question orders? I mean, isn't that like part of the whole shtick?
That's kind of the thing,
what
right?
You're told?
Like, I'm supposed to follow orders unless they're unlawful order. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not qualified to determine what a lawful order is and what it isn't. So, somehow this has been passed off onto me. That seems completely unfair to me. I disagree with the notion of a lawful order or an unlawful order.
Well, I agree with you that they won't be able to tell the difference in a lot of cases. They don't know what the law is.
Everybody should be responsible for their own actions, and we shouldn't have a draft. That'll solve a lot of those problems instead of making 18-year-olds act like JAG officers. It's ridiculous. We view Rule 63 as illegitimate.
This is the new rule that prohibits the guns, I presume.
We view Rule 63 as having the perverse effect of increasing the risk to everyone in the state, house, and gallery and chambers. He's right. To make this point of view more approachable for our progressive friends, we are morally obligated to resist.
Oh, good.
To any violent extremists with the intent to do harm, know that the NH House will not be a soft target. And it's signed here by,
Is it multiple reps who signed it? Because he was writing "we" constantly throughout that. So I'm wondering how many other reps are on board for this particular civil disobedience. And I'm wondering what this will look like. Will these reps who had previously
There's
concealed
several names
carry,
here that aren't mentioned in the article, so I presume that these people are the undersigned.
will these state reps, will they, if they previously had concealed carry, begin carrying openly in open violation of the rule? Or will they simply try to, again, knowing that there's no actual security checkpoint, knowing that nobody's actually going to check them, are they just going to continue to conceal carry in violation of the rule? So in quiet violation or in open violation, what's it going to look like? And further, what kind of punishment can they face? Whatever it is would have to come from the rest of the body.
Right. I don't think that there is a punishment. I mean, like...
they could, if you violate the rules, there must be a punishment in theory, right?
No. Have you ever read the Constitution of the United States of America? There's all kinds of rules for the government that it's supposed to follow, and not one single penalty. It's the highest law in the land.
This isn't rules for the government that they're talking about. They're
yes,
talking
it
about
is.
rules for the people in government and how they're supposed to behave while they're there on site.
Specifically, state reps and anybody else who
is
goes
only people
into that chamber.
It's just sociopaths. That's all.
Well, sure. But, I mean, the Constitution doesn't outline anything about what congressional officials can and can't do.
It doesn't.
It talks about what presidents can and can't do, high crimes and misdemeanors.
Well, I mean, it delegates powers to them, but it doesn't outline any rules.
Right. There's a whole set of rules in New Hampshire that is separate from the Constitution that they can change on a whim, and that's why, like, the doors are locked around the State House. Because several years ago, you used to be able to go in through any door on any side of the State House, and then somebody decided that for security, they need to lock all the doors around except for the very front doors, and it's been just the dumbest rule ever since. But that's just one of their little rules that they came up with. So what happens if one of these state reps violates the rule? Can they be, dethroned? Can they kick them out? What happens? More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free to join us here on the radio and bring up whatever you want to talk about. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about some civil disobedience on the part of an unusual group of people, state representatives here in New Hampshire, saying that the new rules that the Democrats that are now in control of the state reps, the House here in New Hampshire, had passed over the last week to restrict the carrying of guns inside the state house chambers. These state reps are saying they're going to violate that rule. And I think it's great news. I'm excited about it. I'm glad to hear that that they are doing that. Of course, I think that we need to see more civil disobedience in general, more people who are publicly willing to accept whatever consequences may come for, making a statement and making an impact. And in this case, there may not be any real consequence for them. That's one of the things we were trying to determine is, what can they actually do? If you violate the rules of the state house, can they, censure you? Can they?
Well, they could certainly
kick you
do
out?
that. They could certainly they cannot kick you out, but they could certainly censure you.
Now, would that mean that you wouldn't be able to participate in their votes? Would they be able to ignore
Censure?
you?
No.
Okay,
what would it entail?
It's just where they say publicly, "You've been a bad boy."
That's basically
that's
what
like the
censure
rule
is.
in the first place, though. It's just
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, so this is brilliant because what it requires them to do, it requires those in power to do, is to shake down concealed carry permit holders, looking for their guns.
Yeah.
Where are you, Republicans? All right, everybody, empty out their pockets. Oh, you're not going to empty out your? Fine. Get Wilbur over here to pat them down. Wilbur, I know you're 87, but pat them down. And so Wilbur comes over and touches them in spots. And my God, what is that in your pocket? It's a catheter. It just goes on and on, like how silly all of this is. And
what's this supposed to accomplish in the first place? Under the best of circumstances, why did they do this?
Pandering.
Is it because they can't pass a New Hampshire-wide one? They're
going to try.
Because Democrats don't like guns and Republicans do, and so therefore that's basically where it comes from. Some Republicans at some points in the past, or some gun holders at some point in the past, have dropped their guns on the state house floor, and it's like whoops. It's a lot easier to conceal carry. In like a belt holster or something like that, if you don't have a big gut hanging over it. And, as you get older, you're more likely to have a gut. I know. And so, you've got a bunch of older folks in there in the state house, and sometimes just the bumps and lumps shove the gun up out of the holster, out of the belt, and then whoosh.
It's for show, basically. I mean, they want to show their constituents that they're doing something. They want to show each other that they think that, this will accomplish something. I mean, they must believe that their laws have some sort of an effect because they keep trying, to put them in place, even though it doesn't really make much of a difference. As you pointed out, if somebody wants to violate these laws, they're going to do that. If somebody wants to have a gun who's not supposed to, like a felon, for instance, they're going to have a gun. So we know that the laws don't make a difference. But these people really, I think a lot of them truly believe that what they're doing makes a difference, that they can actually stop people from carrying guns simply by passing, a law, some words written down on paper. I mean, it's a ridiculous religious belief, but ultimately that's what the belief in the state is.
And people call me delusional.
Yeah, it is a religious belief. The belief in the state is definition. It absolutely is a religious belief. They even have the trappings of religion. They have a chant, for instance, that they do. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, it's got all sorts of rituals and
rituals. Exactly. Stand up for the judge when they come in the room. You're literally sitting in pews. I mean, come on. The only thing they don't have, like I remember going to church, they had the Bibles in the little backs of the pews, right? Like the hymnals and things like that. Okay, so they don't have hymnals behind the pew, but otherwise you're literally sitting in a church chamber when you're in court.
The guy in charge is wearing vestments.
Yeah, he's got a robe on. So, I mean, what else do you need as far as the evidence is concerned?
The similarity is high.
Not only that, but they also believe they are part of this thing that doesn't actually exist, right? So when the prosecutor writes a complaint, when they write down the charging document, it's always something in the language of the state of New Hampshire. The prosecutor is writing the thing, but they're not writing as me,
right,
as the individual.
First person.
It's not I charge this person, it's the state of New Hampshire charges this person, or this person has violated the peace and dignity of the state. On every complaint, it says that.
Right. Well, they'll be referred to in the court as the state.
The judge will refer to him or herself as the state. The state will also...
the judge
refers to themselves as the court. Sorry.
So the judge is the court, and then so he gets the paycheck from the state of New Hampshire, and then the prosecutor's the state, and he gets a paycheck from the state of New Hampshire. Right. The police officer comes up, he's the witness, and he's getting a paycheck from the state of New Hampshire, and then at some point or another, you're getting a fair trial. Congratulations.
Right. But yet when you ask them what the state is, Then they get all upset and they don't want to have any kind of further discussion. Then the judge will threaten you with contempt of court if you keep on pushing on that particular question. Because that's one of those questions that Mark Stevens has, I think revealed that is very, very effective to get them to kind of reveal the elephant in the room, so to speak, the truth, the violence, the gun in the room of what. Well, okay. Factually, what is the state, officer? You're under oath. What is the state? You just said you were part of the state. So what is it? Is it the land?
Because the dirt hasn't charged us.
Right. The dirt isn't offended.
It's not present.
The dirt hasn't been wronged. So it's not the dirt. It's not the trees. Is it the people? Well,
if so, then it's an organization.
Yeah. Well, what is the state exactly? Well, the answer, of course, is criminal enterprise, but they're not going to say that. If you were to get some sort of a responsive answer out of them, they might say that the state is a body politic, meaning that a group of people who have come together for a common purpose under a specific agreement, in which case you might want to ask, well, did you sign that agreement?
Yep.
Or is there any evidence that you, the defendant, have actually signed that agreement? No? Oh, you don't have any evidence? Well, you're never going to get to this point, right? Because, of course, there's no evidence. I was talking...
Because you didn't sign it.
Right. I was talking.
You don't have to sign it. You're
It's a social contract,
right? Your
right. I heard that this week.
Your consent is not necessary. You are subject to their rules. The rules, whatever rules they decide.
Right.
The social contract is whatever we say it is at this very moment.
The social contract is you do what they say, right? That's what it is. Because I had somebody, was one of the dating websites. I was talking with somebody, and we got onto this subject, and that's I'm not going to meet this person, but this person brought up the social contract, and that's what I said. So by that, do you mean they tell you what to do and you do it? Is that the social contract? Because what's the other side of it? Because usually if there's a contract, there's an agreement, right? So. Is there something that they've agreed to give you in return for your complete obedience?
I mean, that reveals the truth of it. It's not a social contract. It's a social dictate.
Yes.
And that's what it all comes down to. Do as we say, or we shoot you.
Well, right, because if somebody was at least intelligent enough to answer the question, they could try to claim that, they'll protect you. Well, they'll give you protection in return for your obedience, because that's what the deal with citizenship is. If you look up the term citizen, it's a person who owes a duty of allegiance in return for an obligation of protection.
But they have no obligation to protect.
That's correct. So there is no contract. Even if there were a contract, they would have violated it. More coming up here in moments, so it's all just fantasy. It's all pure in their imagination.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Tomorrow's my big day. I'm going to go in for surgery, and hopefully you'll come along. Now, I do have to admit that I am in a bit of pain, so I'm really looking forward to this procedure. I think we're both going to find out that having surgery just isn't as scary as it sounds.
We're covering our own Jim Haggerty's kidney stone removal surgery, and his surgery is now just minutes away. So, Dr. Atka, tell us what precautions we would take to prevent us from getting kidney stones.
Always stay hydrated. Water helps the kidneys break the stuff down.
Ah, hear that, Jim? More water.
What?
More water. Maybe we should replace your coffee.
Please go away. Ow, no.
That's a camera they're going to use to film the whole surgery from inside Jim's body,
Yes, that's going to be pushed into Jim's urethra as well. Now, normally they wouldn't do this. This is purely for the benefit of us watching it on TV.
All right, stick with us, because first he's going to pop into the children's ward to cheer up some youngsters suffering from terminal illnesses.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free, and you can join us here on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
By the way, Anarchapulco is coming up February 14th through the 17th in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. It'll be a great lineup of speakers, including Ron Paul. He's coming back. He was there in 2018. He's back again here in 2019. And Judge Andrew Napolitano also going to be there for the first time ever, plus dozens of other great speakers discussing entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, personal relationships, and other topics for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. And Mark, you and I will be there broadcasting Free Talk Live from the event, so we'll look forward to seeing you.
I'll be emceeing the Cryptopolco stage.
Fewer than 500 tickets remain for this event, which is a 3,000-ticket event, so it's almost to the point of being sold out. And usually when you're doing organizing events like this, the bulk of the tickets that sell usually sell in the last few weeks. So it's
TikTok.
It's that time. The fact that more than 2/3, more than 3/4 of these tickets have already been sold prior to the beginning of 2019 is an indicator there's a good chance this is going to sell out. But even if it doesn't, it's going to be huge, and it'll be the biggest in Acapulco thus far, because it was 1,700 was their sellout point last year, and they did sell out last year. So go to anarchapulco.com, use code FTL like Free Talk Live, and you will get a discount because you're a Free Talk Live listener. Once again, February 14th through the 17th. Definitely not too late to get your tickets, get your airline reserved, or you can always drive down, I suppose, if you want to take a nice long trip through Mexico.
I know people who did, and it was just fine.
Yeah, anarchapulco.com, code FTL like Free Talk Live. Let's go to Vernon in New Orleans. Vernon, you're listening online. Go ahead.
So I want to try to phrase my question in such a way where the question doesn't become twisted back around on me. So, and I've been thinking about this since I've been on hold, and I hope I ask it correctly. So you all had stated that the State House in New Hampshire now only has the front door open, and we can't go in any of the side doors.
Yeah, it's
and
been
I
that way
that
for a
comes with
few
metal
years.
detectors?
There are no metal detectors.
Okay. So that maybe
there are guards that mill about the State House, but they do not stop people coming in. There's no pat downs. There's no metal detectors. There's no wands. There's none of that stuff.
Do you think there has been talk of that at all? And that's not a question, by the way, but do you think there has been?
I haven't heard anything.
That is a question.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think the House would have that kind of authority, though.
Well, no, they could absolutely
they could allocate money towards
that rule, I think, if they wanted to. But they would then have to justify
the rules only apply to their chambers and not to the building, entire building.
No, they can make rules for the whole building.
They can?
They absolutely can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their court, right? It's their chamber, sort of in the same way the judge can tell his bailiffs what to do. They could certainly do that. But in order to do that, they would have to allocate funding to it, and that becomes a whole different conversation. So all they've done right now is said, there are no state reps or members of the public who can bring guns into the House chambers and a couple of other rooms. So that's all they've done. They've not spent any money. But if it becomes to spend money, then all of a sudden, the people who might have supported a thing won't support it anymore because they can't justify the cost. New Hampshire is generally a fairly fiscally conservative place as far as its government is concerned, like compared to other governments in the United States. It's still a government. They still suck and they're inefficient and they're awful. But New Hampshire is a little bit better as far as they're not as likely to spend money on things that other states do. Like, for instance, I think one of the best examples of this is outside of the State House, but I remember when I first moved here, it was hard to figure out where I was because there aren't street signs on every single corner.
There are not.
No. I'm used to that from Florida, where every corner, there's always a street sign, more than one of them, that shows you what street is what street. In New Hampshire, if you turned onto a street and you didn't pay attention, where the street sign was, and then you're traveling down that street, you don't know. If you don't have GPS, you don't know what street you're on.
Welcome to New Hampshire. You better know where you're going.
Yep.
Now, we don't know what happens to representatives who civilly disobey this law. What would happen to an ordinary member of the public?
That's another good question. I don't think that there's any kind of criminal penalty. I think they might just be asked to leave.
Okay.
Would be my guess. But that would be a question for an actual state rep. Go ahead, Vernon.
So all that provides great context for my actual question.
Okay.
So let's just say there was some sort of a mass shooting that occurred in the State House in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Would that change your opinion at all about the locked doors or metal detectors in the front of the building or anything like that?
No, of course not. And if there were a mass shooting, it would probably be stopped pretty quickly before it got too massive because there are a bunch of armed state representatives who are there.
I mean, that's how we stop shooters, is with guns. I mean, ordinarily people call the police, and the police
harsh
have to
language
travel
doesn't
there,
work real well.
And
so
then they have to fight their way onto the
but
inside. But somebody there with the gun is already there.
Is the intent of the metal detectors at the front of the door, though, to maybe isolate that kind of an incident to perhaps the security checkpoint versus, that going into the chambers doors? Maybe I'm not looking at that correctly. Does that make sense?
Sure, it makes sense. I mean, if there were metal detectors, and there aren't, then they would have a more secure system that would make more sense. But at this point, all they're saying is the killer must walk out the same door they came in. And that's not particularly secure. It doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. But there are armed people wandering around, and hopefully they'll do something to stop something bad that might occur.
Okay, so then if a mass shooting occurred in the
which
State
has
House,
never happened in the history of the New Hampshire State
thank
House.
God, so glad.
Not
to hear
even
that.
a shooting that I'm aware of.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's great. So would your support for metal detectors in the single entrance change? And I think you just said no, correct?
I don't support metal detectors, so no.
I'm against the single entrance thing as it is. I think those doors should be open because if there was a mass shooting, how are these people going to flee?
Well, you can exit the building.
You can?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Just can't get in.
So you would not support let's just say you were even there and you witnessed it and you were a part of it, that wouldn't inspire you to necessarily support.
I mean, let's just cut to the chase and hold the House meetings in prisons, because that's what you're getting at here.
Maximum security.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So limiting a person's ability to bring a gun in even after a situation like that is basically
Yeah, you're limiting their rights. You're limiting that individual's right to defend themselves and others. And no amount of fear-mongering, which is what this is, and I'm not saying you actually believe this. You might just be asking for whatever reason, but just to have the conversation, which is fine. But when you're taking away people's rights, you take away in this case, their right to defend themselves, their right to have a chance in a situation like this. And further, don't forget, if somebody wants to kill some people, they don't have to go through the security checkpoint. They can just start blasting at the security checkpoint, right? So if I were a madman and I wanted to kill a bunch of state representatives, well, I could just wait outside the security checkpoint. And then the ones that were coming out, just blast them as they're coming out the door.
So then a final question for you. What about guns on airplanes and security checkpoints in airports? What are your feelings about that?
Let the airlines decide.
The difference there is that what Ian has said is that private organizations can decide what the security is like in their buildings and conveyances, and that public organizations should not be able to limit your right. And this is an extraordinarily consistent libertarian position. You haven't heard me take one side or the other because I think it's a difficult situation. I understand why legislators don't want to have guns in their building. I think that they are
a lot of them do.
Ill-advised, and that their policy stinks as it exists today. What you're saying is well, if we made the policy better, would you support it? And I don't what you're asking me is can the largest, most successful organized crime gang in the state of New Hampshire, can they set up rules for their own safety? And you're asking me if I can agree to them being safe? Well, no, not really. But I do think that you should be able to set up whatever rules you want for your property and your business.
Thank you for the call, Vernon. I appreciate the discussion. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And how many businesses can you think of actually have metal detectors and armed guards searching customers before they come in? Can you think of any? There must be something, but I can't think of any of them. We're coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
At WolfHillAmmo.com, we love shotguns. We offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market, including our defensive combo packs for home and retreat. Our less lethal combo is good for animal control, the 4-legged kind and 2-legged. When lethal force is necessary, reach for our Stop 'em, Drop 'em, or our home defense combos. These 5-round packs include different heavy hitters to protect your loved ones. Visit WolfHillAmmo.com to see our great prices on these combo packs and other specialty shotgun ammo rounds. WolfHillAmmo.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you are tuned in to us live tonight and you want to hear more Free Talk Live after the radio show ends, we are doing our after show. It is called Freer Talk Live, and it is only available on the Twitch platform, which is where we normally stream video of our radio show. So right now we're on Twitch, but we're doing a radio show, so there's certain things you can't say on the radio. I mean, I wish you could, but you can't. And even if the FCC weren't around, there still would probably be rules that the business, that owns the radio stations would probably still, put in place. Just because some sponsors might not want to be associated with shows that are of a certain salacious, filthy nature. So while I might support freedom of speech, unfortunately, there's certain rules we got to play by. However, most of those rules are not present after 10 p.m. Eastern Time on our Twitch-only after show. So you can join us there at twitch.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Mark.
And we're going to continue. We'll take your calls and thoughts about what you want. But again, join us tonight at twitch.lrn.fm. If you're not yet following us on Twitch, please hit the follow button once you've logged into your account there. And the accounts are free. It's an Amazon-owned site. They purchased it a few years ago. So if you actually have an Amazon Prime subscription, you could give us your Twitch subscription. This is one of the perks you get. So, Amazon Prime, they throw in all kinds of benefits and perks in there. And one of them is that you get a free Twitch subscription every month that you can allocate to your favorite Twitch channel. And if that's us, we would appreciate you giving that to us. The instructions on how to do so, they're very simple. It only takes a moment. And you can find those right below our video window on the full version of twitch.lrn.fm. If you're on a mobile browser, I think that it's hidden away somewhere. But if you're on the full version of the site, you can easily read how to connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account and then send us that free subscription, which gives us just a couple bucks, which otherwise Amazon would just keep for themselves. So that is up to you. All right, so that's twitch.lrn.fm. In fact, Trent is watching us on Twitch right now, calling from Alabama. Go ahead, Trent.
Hey, so I'm just wondering about, I just want to talk about guns. I mean, it's a hot issue in America. And if I want to bring a gun into, say, my favorite pizza joint, speaking of pizza, I mean, I think really Italian pizzas by far.
What other kind of pizzas are there?
Well, there's Greek pizza.
It's Hawaiian pizza.
None of that vegan. Don't even get.
Can you even have a vegan pizza? I mean, just cheese.
But, I mean, we gotta stop these vegans.
Why do you want to stop vegans
Honey on the right, the one in the green shirt, the one who looks like
Honey. You're calling me Honey? Thank you. You think I'm a vegan?
Take off your headphones for a second, bud.
You want to see the size of my ears?
There's a delay, by the way.
I prefer not to answer.
Okay.
What is going on?
Do you think I'm a vegan?
I don't know, but he hasn't said anything he can't say yet, so it's fine. We can keep.
I'm the least vegan person on the show. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's because you have a green shirt on. Is that why he's a vegan? I mean, what are you saying here, Trent?
No, I just think he looks cute. I like his haircut.
He's right.
He's handsome.
I'm a good-looking man.
I'm just good.
I am a beautiful creature.
So you're into older guys. You're into kind of gray-haired older guys.
That's
hey,
nice.
what color should we make Mark's hair, Trent? Since you're new to the show, what would you like to see Mark's hair color be? Because he's going to get his hair dyed this week, some kind of crazy color. We don't know what it should be.
Yeah, we reached a goal on a fundraising thing for
brown.
Oh, come on. That's pretty boring.
Would look so
like a Grecian formula. Yeah.
Thanks for the call tonight, Trent. Appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. See, at least we didn't have to dump his call. It just got boring. So, anyway, we go on here.
Why can't we just dye my hair brown? Trent said so.
No, I was just asking for his input. He didn't actually get to decide anything.
Awesome. I'm not a fan of brown. Let's not do brown.
No, I'm thinking...
Your hair is like the color of a strawberry.
Yeah.
I liked what one of our chatters said on the Discord chat, that it should be bright red because his face gets really red when he yells a lot.
I bet Aria's got an extra bottle of bright red
so it would
dye.
match.
I do.
Yeah. I suspect they have it at the...
She buys it in quantity.
At the salon, though.
Why don't we do it here at an after show? That way people can get an immediate reaction rather than you just taking a few pictures.
You don't want to do it in the studio. It's a messy process.
It's not that bad once you go to the sink.
Super messy.
You put the stuff on. You put a little,
I don't want you wearing headphones with
I wouldn't be wearing headphones at an after show anyway.
There's a salon in town, and they take cryptocurrency. So why wouldn't we want to do it at a nice salon that takes
immediate
cryptocurrency?
Live reaction. That's why.
We can get that with the phone camera streaming to Twitch.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess we could put it on Twitch from their app or something like that. I was thinking of doing we could do both, right? Like we could have a Twitch live stream, and we could have the camera on a tripod, recording proper 1080p video to do kind of like a time lapse was what I was thinking. Just a quick, take however, I don't know, what's it take, like an hour, 2 hours, something. I don't know how long we're going to have to be there, but
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
It can vary.
So
mine takes about 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now you've got like the streaks of blue. Are you when you're saying it takes
that's just a clip.
Oh, that's a clip in.
Yeah.
See, I have.
How about we just buy me clips?
That's not as much fun. That's not a real commitment. You can have clips too, though, if you want. Would you like to add clips to?
I'm dying to.
Yeah. Anyway, we're working on this. We got to figure it out. You didn't call the salon today, so unfortunately, we don't have an appointment yet. But we'll get there.
Doesn't sound like you have much of a commitment to it either.
I have committed to be there to record this thing.
It's great. Call the salon tomorrow.
No, it's your appointment. You've got to set this thing up. I'm not going to set up an appointment for you.
I forgot.
But when you call, make sure you ask them if it's okay if we bring a camera.
Okay.
All right. So toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Was there more that we needed to say on this issue of
the state reps participating in civil disobedience and by carrying guns into the state house? No.
Was anybody able to determine whether you could recall going into any kind of private business where there's an actual agent who shakes you down for everything metal on your body?
I can't think
metal
of
detector.
The closest thing I can think of is airports before
government operated, though.
The TSA existed.
Still run by the government.
I've never been, but what about like Disneyland? Do they have something akin to that?
They take your thumbprint when you come in, but they don't shake you down. They might be. There might be. I'll bet you there are. Yep. Aria's right. She's right.
Disneyland.
That these what do you call them? Amusement parks do kind of go through they go through your bag and they'll kind of do some stuff.
You don't get wanded though.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. See, it's been a long time since I've been to one of these amusement parks. I did go to, I think, Epcot when I was in high school or something like that, somewhere around that time frame. But
you're 37 now?
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, just about. I mean, I'm not going to say there aren't. There's probably some high-security businesses like,
I've also been into
a weapons manufacturer probably has some security at their front door.
Does a professional sports stadium count?
Yeah, true. Concerts are a good example of that. Yeah, they're definitely security at concerts that will do a pat down. But for the most part, when it comes to business, you can just walk into any old business you want to.
Because we don't go to businesses generally that have more than 1,000 people in one place at one time.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? Coming up, we are going to be talking to Adam Kokesh, who was arrested last week. It was toward the end of last week. He was arrested in New Orleans for the dastardly crime of sitting alongside a bridge. He was in a car with some of his friends, and they were doing a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of outreach. And I got to say, it's a brilliant form of outreach. I don't think I've ever seen this being done before. I'm surprised it hasn't been more popular. But basically what they did was, I don't know if they rented or they already had one. Somebody had a pressure washer, and they had a stencil. And the stencil is the name, it happens to be the name of Adam's book, which is Freedom with an exclamation mark. And so that's what's on the stencil. And so they put the stencil up on whatever dirty, part of the overpass, part of the bridge that cars are driving across constantly. So it's just filthy. And then I don't know how long it took, because I didn't actually see the footage of the cleaning, but I saw the footage of the results, which is to say a completely clean word freedom blown off of, the dirt being blown off because they used the stencil with the pressure washer.
Right.
So brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
In the absence of a stencil, you could just pressure wash your name, on... You could.
That's going to take a little more time, takes a little more artistic ability. In this case, put the stencil up, blast it, and then you're done.
I'm just saying that this isn't vandalism, right?
No, and they weren't charged, I don't think, with vandalism. Kokesh was arrested, and I do have the arrest video here. I've actually had it queued up for a few days. He's out of jail, and supposedly he'll be joining us coming up here after the news. So stick with us. We'll hopefully have Adam Kokesh on, and your calls and thoughts also welcome if you want to talk about whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number here, or if you got a question for Adam, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Hour 3 is next. This is Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.62 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,281 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.46 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,073. Antiwar.com reports after focusing last week on the U.S. slowing down the Syrian withdrawal, John Bolton's comments over the weekend about the pullout being conditional is adding questions. Many make it unclear if the pullout is happening at all. The White House seems determined not to really clarify the matter at all. On Monday, their new statement claimed that Trump's position is unchanged. Since Trump has repeatedly scoffed at media reports trying to guess what his position on Syria actually boils down to, that's not very enlightening. To the extent they elaborated at all, they again emphasized that the process is slow and will take time to make sure the troops are safe. There's no timetable, and it is expected to take several months. With the Syrian Kurdish plans resting heavily on what happens with the pullout, they are pushing the matter with the U.S., asking for clarifications on the exact intentions of the U.S. going forward, noting that the U.S. has not informed them of any changes yet. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. UPI reports the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute on Monday withdrew an award set to be presented to activist Angela Davis next month. The institute issued a statement announcing it had rescinded its invitation to recognize Davis with its Fred Shuttlesworth Human Rights Award after receiving a request to reconsider granting her that award. The Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's board said in late December, supporters and other concerned individuals and organizations, both inside and outside of our local community, began to make requests that we reconsider our decision. Upon closer examination of Ms. Davis's statements and public record, we concluded that she unfortunately does not meet all of the criteria on which the award is based. The board voted to rescind its invitation Friday and also canceled the associated gala event scheduled for February 16th while offering full refunds to those who purchased tickets. Davis, who was born in Birmingham, has been a member of the Black Panther Party and the Communist Party USA, and her calls for divestment and boycotts against Israel on behalf of Palestinians were cited by the Jewish community as a reason for the board's decision to reconsider its decision to present her with the award. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General asked federal election officials on Monday to investigate allegations that the 2017 U.S. Senate election that Republican Roy Moore lost to Democrat Doug Jones was tainted by use of misleading social media campaigns. Attorney General Steve Marshall has said he was concerned over tactics used in the election. Jones, a former federal prosecutor, became the first Democrat in a quarter century to win a U.S. Senate seat in the state when he upset Moore by a narrow margin to win the seat formerly held by Republican Jeff Sessions. The New York Times reported on Monday that Democratic operatives had sought to undermine Moore by creating a Facebook page claiming that his supporters wanted to ban alcohol in the state. The newspaper has previously reported that Democrats created a separate false flag Facebook page that portrayed Moore as supported by Russian bot accounts. Mike Lewis, a spokesman for the Republican Attorney General, told Reuters on Monday the Attorney General's office has evaluated reports of possible deception in the Alabama U.S. Senate race and has determined the matter to be under the exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Federal Election Commission. Lewis said, accordingly, the Attorney General has requested the FEC officials investigate the matter to determine if any federal laws were violated. Moore, whose campaign was marred by allegations that he sexually assaulted and pursued teenage girls while in his 30s, refused to concede the election to Jones and filed an unsuccessful legal challenge to the results, claiming voter fraud. Moore, a former state chief justice, has denied any sexual misconduct or wrongdoing, and Reuters has not been able to independently verify the allegations. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Millions of Americans are irrationally feared dead following a train derailment near Wilmington, Delaware.
Less than 200 people were aboard the train, but because no names have been released yet, countless more are being imagined trapped inside the wreckage by worried parents and overly anxious friends.
And the list of imagined victims is growing by the minute. From brothers-in-law who live in Delaware, who usually drive but could possibly have been on that train, to friends who went to Delaware on a business trip and may have been next to the tracks for some reason when the train derailed.
And sadly, we're getting reports that even those who have never been to Delaware are now also among those irrationally thought killed.
Oh, and we are just now getting word from Homeland Security that they're now warning people their fears may spiral into a wholly new fear that their loved ones never existed at all and are just byproducts of a drug-induced lucid dream in which their consciousness is currently imprisoned.
Such a shame, since this is reality.
There is nothing beyond this. To believe otherwise would be folly.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And welcome to the program. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Mark.
Mark, do you remember the last time we had Adam Kokesh on the show?
It hasn't been too long, maybe a few months ago. I couldn't say really anything beyond that. Hopefully we'll be able to get him here in the very near future, but it appears as though there's been some adventure that he's been on recently, besides running for not president, which is the title that he has chosen for himself. I believe he's running for the presidential nomination from the Libertarian Party in the hopes of then running for not president. I guess that means that he's not going to take the oath of office or take the seat. We certainly can talk to him about that here right now.
I believe I have him now. Adam Kokesh.
Yes, sir.
Hey, welcome. You're on Free Talk Live. Not the way I'd hoped. Telegram, unfortunately, the settings were not exactly as I'd expected them to be, but it's good to have you here.
No worries. We're still in the adolescence of the internet and appreciating all this new technology coming up. And I got to say, for all of what Free Talk Live has been through in terms of different technology challenges and formats and everything else, I having done a very small fraction of the time in media that you have done, I have an incredible admiration for your continuing flexibility and patience.
Well, thanks for being here. You're no slouch when it comes to media, of course. Longtime listeners know that you had your own television show on the RT channel for a while.
For a few days while you were in jail, he was here hosting the show.
That's right.
I could basically turn on the mics and walk out and get a glass of water and come back, and Adam would still be going.
Yeah, well, you also did your own show for a while, I think, down on one of our affiliates in Albuquerque in Kiva. You were on the radio down there, I think, too.
Yeah. That was my start in media, actually. I had been doing a YouTube channel as an activist, as a side thing or a supplementary thing or for announcements or to release, particular police encounter videos, but not any regular media production. And I actually got my start in terrestrial radio, AM 1550 KIVA, more positive talk radio, Albuquerque. Love it. And, in some ways still miss it. It's like, I think it's time to die. I hate to be like demeaning in any way. But we have the technology. It's all, I think it's time for humanity to move on because it's over commercialized primarily. But, it sort of like makes me feel old. Like I was there for the heyday of old school radio and you guys are still, killing it. Along. But the transition is to how much of your traffic is online now?
Most of our listeners are still on the radio just because we've got close to 200. We have close to 200 radio affiliates.
The flippening hasn't occurred. Not to say that it will not, Adam. I think there's a lot of advantages to listening on a podcast or that sort of thing. And like you said,
but you guys are so ready for it. You're so ready for it.
We're doing our best.
So you're the ultimate bridge right now.
Yeah, we are kind of like a multimedia show. In fact, we're now on Twitch for the last year. We've been broadcasting the show there as well. So we're trying to. We're slow. We're still old radio guys, right? Like, I mean, we're compared to most of the radio guys, we're young, but we're not as young as we used to be. And I mean, we've been doing Free Talk Live for 16 years now. We're into, I think, going into our 17th year doing this thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why you're on the show tonight, because you had contacted us previously, and you've got a great press guy, I think Marcus, who has been sending out email after email trying to gin up some interviews for you, because you're doing, not only are you campaigning for not president, which we've talked to you about previously, and I'm sure we can talk about that again, but you've also got a book, Freedom, which you've had out now for a few years, right? When did that come out?
That came out in 2014.
Yeah, so it has been a few years.
Yeah.
But you're still promoting it. I think you got didn't you get Dash to come on board with helping you do a printing and distribution of the book?
Well, Ash, I'm not sure who you mean. But,
Dash the crypto. The crypto. Dash the crypto.
Oh, Dash. I'm sorry, I misheard you. Yes, Dash and Smart Cash and Bitcoin.com and Steemit. And even Dogecoin and a number of other great sponsors, and our friends with Declare Your Independence with Ernie Hancock and freedomsphoenix.com. So there are a lot of great people. The Advocates for Self-Government, who do the world's smallest political quiz. There are a lot of great individuals and organizations who made this possible. This is a big project. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to you guys in the middle of it right now, because we just raised and spent $131,000 to print and deliver 204,453 copies of the book Freedom, which we wrote to be the ultimate libertarian red pill. And having been out for 4.5 years now, we've seen that it has lived up to that expectation. Now, something better may come along, and something in a different format may prove to be more effective. And I hope if that's what's coming, it comes as soon as possible. But for right now...
Yeah, you got funded to print and distribute this the book. And was New Orleans the first location to which you were going to begin this process?
Yes, and the first reason was because of the National Convention being here.
The Libertarian one?
But upon thinking about it, there were just so many good reasons, one after another. And in a way, to sum it up, it's extremely libertarian in spirit and very much the opposite in terms of political and law enforcement manifestation of that. And it really is particularly sad, and I can tell you, if you want to get into the whole story of my recent arrest, going to jail at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office facility, where easily 90+% of the inmates are black. Mm-hmm. Nearly as many of the guards are black. Less so with the police officers, and especially the state troopers. And I don't. This is just my casual racial observations, but it's about a bigger truism that we see in a lot of inner cities in the United States, but in New Orleans in particular, is that you have a system that disproportionately disadvantages black people. And you've heard the criticism that libertarianism is for rich white dudes. And right now, there's a truth to a movement being dominated by white male INTJs, because we're the nerdy types who got to figure stuff out. But the message is not for people who are favored by the system. And right now, it is black people who are most disproportionately disfavored by the system. And nowhere is that more poignant, only a handful of places where is it nearly as poignant, at least, as New Orleans. Where you have a law enforcement system that I've heard fairly described as being a couple generations behind in terms of just accountability and community relations in every way possible. And it's the South.
And it's also the site of Hurricane Katrina back in 2005, where the failures of government were on full display, and the outrageous behavior. Where
and the scars are still raw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And in jail, it was black people oppressing black people on behalf of rich white people. And to me, the racial part of it is the least important. But it's hard to ignore, and when you see it like that, man, it's got to ping the conscience somehow.
All right,
you have to see that and say something is still really wrong.
Adam, stand by. We're bringing you back here. We're going to continue the discussion because I want to go back to what happened with the arrest on a bridge. You were somewhere in New Orleans on a bridge, and we'll talk to our listeners about what you were doing on that bridge, because I gave them a little tease right before we started this hour about you were essentially stenciling freedom with a it's an amazing. You were cleaning. You were basically arrested for cleaning up this dirty bridge. More coming up here in moments. Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial in. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. If you've got a question for our special guest, Adam Kokesh, he is on the line with us here. As he always is after he gets arrested. I mean, if Adam gets arrested, I'm always probably one of the first people who sends him a text message saying, we got to get you on. Because, you know, this has been kind of a bit of a history for you, Adam. You're one of the few people in the liberty movement who has the courage to actually put your body into the gears of the state and stand up for what you believe in. And I have a high level of appreciation for that. So I want to say thank you for being willing to continue to do that, because all you were trying to do was clean up the city of New Orleans with a pressure washer on a very dirty bridge. I don't know what. Do you recall what bridge it was that you were on?
Well, Ian, I think you have my motivations somewhat misunderstood here, because the only reason I get arrested these days is so that I can come on Free Talk Live again. So it's usually worth it. This time it was, 3 nights, and it was very uncomfortable. But I get my hour. So it's
you really just have to drive up here, and then you'll get on Free Talk Live.
That's true.
Be fine.
Move to Keene. You'll be on as much as you want.
I am so good at getting arrested now. I can do it without even trying.
Yeah, you weren't trying to.
I genuinely was not trying to get arrested, and in fact, what I was doing, I had done to a law enforcement officer just days prior, and there is a video of that, and I was let go by an officer who decided to do the right thing in that case. And that was at a Border Patrol checkpoint. We were being searched in secondary, and I was asked a question, and I lifted up my attorney's business card, and this is for the one and only Michael Kielski in Arizona. And it's a standard card that he has, his business card printed on the back. You've probably heard this before. I want my attorney. I invoke my right to remain silent. I do not consent to a search of any kind out of me, my effects, premises, and the location of the vehicle. I hereby invoke all rights, including but not limited to those in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 9th, and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Rights in our state constitution. I want my attorney present before and during any questioning before discussing any waivers, and I'm free to go. And in the case of the Border Patrol, they said, no, you're not free to go. You're under investigation. Stand by. I stood by, and then they came back, and then they said, okay, now you're free to go. Mm-hmm. In the case of the Louisiana State Police, I got, I think, about a sentence into that, and they said, okay, turn around, we're putting you in handcuffs. You can watch the video, and this is I was streaming this on Twitter via Periscope. Get away from Facebook. You don't need it, even for live. Twitter, Periscope, just as reliable, better interface. I like it now.
I've been off of Facebook for more than a year now, and it's been great. Let's set the scene here, though. So it's you, and it looked like a couple of your friends or associates were on the side of a bridge in New Orleans. Somebody had a pressure washer and a stencil of your book's name, which also happens to be Freedom. And so you had a stencil. How long did it take to... Because in the video that I've seen, it's just a video of the police and the arrest, so I didn't actually get to see you guys doing the pressure washing. How long does it take with the pressure washer on a filthy old bridge to blast out the message Freedom, but just put the stencil up? How many passes of the washer do you have to do?
Sure, yeah, and just to be clear, this was the part of it was an overpass as part of I-10, and you just write with the pressure washer, basically. To do that Freedom, that 3-foot wide stencil, it's 1.5 feet tall. The letters are smaller, obviously, within that, but that whole thing, it's about a minute.
1 minute. Okay.
And that's what's so fun about it. We're working on doing a backpack-mounted version. You just walk all over. I would do this all day. If you gave me a backpack that did this, I would carry around 5 gallons of water, a little gas-powered pressure washer, whatever I had to. We're thinking of making this a two-person rig. One carries the water, one carries the pressure washer and the hose, and then one's got the stencil. You just go do this all day. Libertarians, step up. We got to own this one. This is brilliant.
It's
Libertarians
amazing
cleaning
marketing.
up the streets. You can't object to it. All we're doing is spraying water, cleaning dirt.
Yep. And they didn't arrest you for vandalism. The charge that apparently was ultimately dropped. What was the charge?
Well, see, first, in order to they arrested me because they're frankly can I say the D word on air? Is that, can I say?
Prefer you didn't.
You can say damn.
Heads? Yeah. All right, whatever.
Richard Heads.
Yeah, there you go, Richard Heads. Yeah. But that's just how they come in. So they arrested me, and then in order to justify the arrest, they had to say that I was interfering with an investigation, and that was the reason for the arrest in the first place, so that they could charge me with resisting arrest by failing to identify. Because I didn't give them the ID as the very first thing.
And you weren't driving either.
And I wasn't driving. And in order to make it a legitimate investigation, they had to give my friend Rob Evans here, a great LP activist, they had to give him a ticket for pulling over while pretending to be broken down. There's you can't pull over on the shoulder on the freeway unless you're broken down.
So that was the claim, was that these guys aren't actually.
The water stenciling itself was fine. They couldn't look. They looked at it. They were like, "Oh, we thought you were spraying spray paint." I was like, "No, we're spraying water." And
you just have a dirty bridge.
No problem. Totally legal.
Right. So you're on the side of the road. You guys are doing the stenciling. How long were you there before the police showed up?
About 2 minutes.
2 or 10?
2.
2 minutes.
Oh, there. Yeah. Lickety split there, making sure that people aren't pressure washing bridges.
You guys weren't blocking a lane of traffic or anything, right? You guys had pulled over completely?
Nope. Totally safely on the shoulder, yeah.
Yep. Wow. 2 minutes later.
Now, when the cops showed up, they were partially blocking traffic, and they were causing a slowdown, of course, and creating a much more dangerous situation.
The idea that you're besmirching our brave officers who would be there to stop people that were, impeding the orderly flow of traffic because they're, and in the process, impeding the orderly flow of traffic is obviously a canard. I mean, the fact that they've got flashing lights designed to distract people, and that automobile accidents go up in the immediate vicinity of people with flashing lights.
Right.
Well, this is all just a bunch of stuff to distract from the idea that you're cleaning certain spaces off on bridges.
Yeah. Well, the team continued. I was locked up for the next 3 days? 3 nights. And I've got an amazing team behind me, and they kept putting up signs, and they kept going out and washing. And doing this water stenciling, and just today we got a great interview with the New Orleans Advocate, which is the biggest or second biggest, I think, depending on how you want to count it, paper in the state. And
nice.
Really looking forward to that. That might be the breakthrough. But
so the police may have just the police may have actually given you a media breakthrough, basically. Like, why would the news isn't going to report on some guy doing, pressure wash stenciling necessarily, but when the police arrest you for it, basically, there's a story.
No, that didn't do it. That didn't do it.
Hang on, Adam. We're going to bring you back here. Adam Kokesh with us. By the way, the video is up on his YouTube channel. It is called Adam Kokesh on YouTube, all one word. Check that out. We'll continue here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
A doctor's office visit for erectile dysfunction on my smartphone? That's crazy.
No, that's the bestedpill.com. ED can affect 40% of men by age 40. Now, there's a 95% less expensive option than Viagra. After a live confidential video consult with a fully licensed doctor, we ship medicines fast, free, and direct in discreet packaging. Read thousands of 5-star reviews. Click thebestedpill.com. That's THE bestedpill.com, the online doctor's office. Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you've got a question for Adam Kokesh, he is on the line with us right now. Still in the New Orleans area, I take it, Adam?
Yep. We are staying in a wonderful Airbnb very close to Loyola University, which is where we are going to be hosting a Freedom Town Hall this Saturday from 4 to 6, room Miller 114 at 6363 St. Charles Street at Loyola University, in accordance with Walter Block and Young Americans for Liberty. And
that'll be fun.
Joining me there is also Rob Evans, who you might know from Libertarian Party activism here in Louisiana. And he's also an Army veteran. I met him at the Orlando convention in 16. And he is also a former sheriff's deputy here in New Orleans. So someone who's worked in law enforcement in the area, going to be talking about police reform and accountability here in the city. You know, and one of the reasons why New Orleans, and this was really affirmed for me when I was locked up, speaking to local gentleman, telling him about just what I thought about the police state. And he said, you know what, I feel the same way, but I haven't really said anything about it. I said, well, why not? And he said, I've been afraid and I felt too timid about it. I said, well, what would it take to change that? Would it change that if you knew that most people in the city felt the same way as you and they were also just a little afraid of speaking out?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, that would probably, well, guess what? We're sending this book to everybody in the city, and we're inviting everybody to a town hall.
Everybody in the city
about it.
Everybody in the city.
How? Well, to be precise, every single residential mailbox in the city of New Orleans, and that's 204,453.
Jeez,
that is amazing. Did you team up with like some crazy direct mailer who's willing to actually do that kind of work? Because that's a lot of mailing.
Well, first we had to team up with the craziest printers we could find, so we went to the communists. We went to China.
Okay.
We had the books printed in China, and anytime we get them printed over 100,000 at a time, they come out, because they're only 100 pages, they come out to just under 30 cents each, including the trans-Pacific shipping to a port on the West Coast.
Including shipping.
We had them.
Damn.
Yeah, we had them shipped to, shipping but not delivery. We had them shipped to Port of Oakland and then trucked to the bulk mailer in Sacramento, where they were sorted and then sent out by FedEx to every postal route. So they get sorted by route. So there's like the way that, and this is, we're using government mail, so we can't be precise on the time. And it started Thursday. It's going to last, up to till this coming Friday. So, but yeah.
What is the person? If you're going to your mailbox in New Orleans over the last few days or this week or whenever these are going to come in, what is the person receiving? Is it just a book, or is there a letter from you? Like, what's in the package?
There's for the economy of this, it has to be one unit. By the way, so the delivery was just about 30 cents. Our total cost per unit for the bulk mailing came out to 64 cents each.
That's amazing.
It is
amazing.
That's amazing.
A lot of people said, oh, do a sticker, put this, do that. And, can't do it, ruins the margin, because you have to treat it legally and in every other way like a catalog. And it's just enough. It feels like a book. You give it to someone, it's a book. But because it's small enough and light enough, you can deliver it for that price and that mechanism. And there's a letter from me that mentions some of our bigger sponsors and supporters and what made this possible, that explains the campaign for dissolving the federal government, turning the presidential election into a referendum, and explains why we're doing this in New Orleans and why this is a great place for it. And so we're hoping that enough people read the inside of the front cover or see our guerrilla marketing, that they know that this is something that is a citywide event, and that they at least kind of have to have an informed opinion about it before taking a book and throwing it in the garbage. And so far, the only negative responses we have had at all, and like with the water stenciling being really unobjectionable, signs, you don't like it, take it down, 4 clips, done. Being very polite, direct about delivering the message like this. The only negative response we've had at all is just what you would expect from statists hearing the message of freedom for the first time. And even when you hear those, and for a lot of us, it's hard to hear, oh my gosh, you're crazy about this, you're crazy about this. That was us. That was us. It was the first time we heard the message. I remember I was in the Marine Corps. No military? Oh my gosh, how is that militia? That wouldn't work. We got to be able to blow up big stuff. Yeah. You're crazy, and I'm a tough guy here. There's going to be and there's going to be fear. How could we be safe without the police?
Right.
And it's like, just stop, get past the emotion, think about it. If you're willing to take the time, here's a 100-page book, and I guarantee by the time you get to the end of it, you'll get it.
It's an amazing outreach project, and I do want to, by the way, thank Smart Cash. I noticed at the back of your arrest video, you were sponsored by Smart Cash. You mentioned that they were involved in the fundraising. They've also come on board as a sponsor of Free Talk Live now, and we've sort of been going down this laundry list of great Liberty-related media producers. You and the Ben Swan apparently is also being sponsored by Smart Cash. Daryl W. Perry and his newscast being sponsored by Smart Cash. So I don't know how many libertarians are behind the scenes at Smart Cash, but I suspect it's quite a few of them. But it's
yes, they are absolutely stepping up.
What is
absolutely.
it? Let me just ask you, what is it that you like about Smart Cash besides the fact that they're sponsoring you as a crypto? The
practical, user-oriented in terms of like business-friendly nature of it. I mean, that's just kind of the obvious thing, and that's. I just did an interview with Chris Karabatz, who's one of the lead developers. I don't know if that's the right title, but he's one of the head guys on the Smart Cash team. And I did an interview with him today that's like, anything that's practical, I want to use it, I want to give it a try, and I want to support every cryptocurrency that is taking an honest attempt at developing the concept and doing something competitively new and different that may be the thing that kills fiat currency. And Smart Cash is one of at least several beautiful attempts that are bringing that awareness and that potential to the project. So I'm not here to evangelize for Smart Cash. It's over my head. All I can say is, as a consumer, in certain applications that I've used it for, it's been great. Worked for me. Fast transaction times, low fees, blah blah blah.
They've got some good ideas,
and they've also got the smart. They've got the voting system that actually allows anybody holding Smart to vote. Unlike a lot of the other voting systems where you've got to be super rich in order to vote. Anybody with even one Smart or even less can cast a vote basically. So it's a pretty impressive system.
There are a lot of cool community features built in, but what I want to say to maintain, my journalistic integrity on this, acknowledging that they're a sponsor, is all I can say is I want them to get a fair share, or a fair shake, excuse me. Yeah. I want all of these cryptos, Dash, even the variations of Bitcoin Cash, and I know some people want to hate on all of these for different reasons. Steam as potentially for social media, although it looks like it might be replaced by the next thing, EOS at this point. But whatever it is, I want everybody, I just stop the hating. There are a lot of good, honest people putting a lot of time and effort in to help.
I totally agree. For all the people that spend time hating, they could spend their time promoting the thing they actually like. Stand by, Adam. Adam Kokesh is with us here. We're going into the final segment here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, it's not like the Federal Reserve's ever sent us any advertising money to promote their crap currency.
So if you want to learn more about Smart Cash, check them out over at smartcash.cc. We'll continue here in moments with Adam Kokesh from New Orleans as he's doing an amazing book distribution thing where everyone in New Orleans is receiving his book. It's pretty amazing. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 76280. This event is the first of its kind ever. more. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 76280. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Maybe enough time. If you have a question for Adam Kokesh, we might be able to get you in here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Ian, Aria, and Mark in the studio. By the way, we do have our after show coming up. No FCC censors. Twitch only. So if you want to watch that, you can tune into our Twitch feed over at twitch.lrn.fm. That will begin just moments after the end of the radio show at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got Adam Kokesh with us. His YouTube channel is called Adam Kokesh, and that is where you can see a approximately 14-minute long video of him being arrested. The arrest is toward the end, but him being harassed by the police on the side of the road, along with a couple of his friends and associates who were doing some cleaning up of the streets of New Orleans, blasting the word freedom with a stencil and a pressure washer, and it took you less than a minute to do the pressure washing, but the police were there in apparently about 2 minutes after you'd stopped on the side of a bridge. They ultimately tried to get information out of you, but since you weren't the driver, my understanding is, and I'm not an attorney, is you're not obligated to show identification if they ask you for it. And that's what this officer tried to do. He tried to buddy up to you and ask you for ID, and you weren't having any of it.
Well, under the Constitution, Ian, you would be correct. And in most of the country, in practice, you would also be right in this situation. But like I said, in the state of Louisiana, they're a little behind on some things, and especially in law enforcement, it's really unfortunate.
It's also kind of irrelevant anywhere in the United States, and that becomes clear when you get harassed by cops at 2 o'clock in the morning. If they want to see your ID, they're going to see your ID.
Yeah, and if they want to arrest you and put you in a cage, they're going to arrest you and put you in a cage, and just drop the charge. This is what they did.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Well, Except from what I understand, here in New Orleans, they have a particularly vicious law enforcement problem, and it goes up to this system that protects individual cops who make arrests like this and who do little things like drop people on their heads like I was.
They dropped you on your head?
The system protects them. I went to go file a complaint against this officer immediately, and I went to an NOPD office deliberately. That's the city office, not the state office. That was the officer who dropped me on my head was a state trooper. And they said, oh, we'll call over a state trooper right away to take your internal complaint. And I'm like, I don't want to file an internal complaint. I want to file a criminal complaint for battery and assault against an individual whose name I know and can identify, who, out of malice or carelessness, regardless, dropped me on my head, causing me to have a minor concussion.
When did this happen? When were you dropped?
This was the night I was arrested, Wednesday. But this was then Saturday when I got out. I was making the complaint, and they said, okay, well, 2 officers from the Stadies will be here in a few minutes. They brought in 2 officers. One of them was one of the guys who was carrying me when I was dropped. And I was like, I'm not doing the report with him in the room. Get him out. I'll talk to the other one. And then probably nothing's going to come of it.
No, of course not.
But what might come of it is that if this town hall is a success, if the book bomb can really have a lasting impact here, if people are just open-minded enough to read a 100-page book and consider the message and answer the question, what is freedom? Then we're going to have a much bigger impact than just one little policy change or one little enforcement practice going a different way or one cop getting a slap on the wrist. So, these are fun little fights. They're righteous battles for certain, but I think we need to keep our eye on the prize of a voluntary society, nothing less than the world set free in our lifetime. It's possible. If, one crayon-eating Marine like this guy right here can write a book and get 200,000 copies printed and distributed, that someone else has got to be able to figure out a way that we can get this government problem solved within the next generation. I want to get it out of the way before I have kids.
I definitely appreciate it. Hey, stand by, Adam. We've got a call with a question for you, if you don't mind taking a couple questions here before we wrap out the show. But I do want to also thank Liberate, and I don't know if I'm going to mispronounce this, OPES, Opis? Anyway, he's a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier, which means he's giving $5 a month to Free Talk Live to help us advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. We're on nearly 200 radio stations now, and it's thanks to listeners like Liberate Opus over at the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. It's ampamp.freetalklive.com. That's how you can support us directly. Let's go to Bad Slave. He's calling from New Hampshire. Bad Slave, you're on with Adam Kokesh. Go ahead with your question for him.
Thank you. Adam, you know me as Abel Freeman, and we've met a couple of times over the years, and I really appreciate your work over the years. You also were a veteran friend, Eli Israel, who you may remember.
We got to get to the question, Bad Slave. We don't have all night for
Go ahead.
pleasantries.
But I have a concern with this, problem between you and Larkin Rose and
what
some
is
other people.
What's the problem between us?
Well, I guess he'll tell us.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adam. Is there some sort of conflict? I'm going to put Bad Slave on hold because we don't have a lot of time. But some sort of internal conflict between libertarian personalities. These things happen from time to time.
Well, there are a lot of lies about me out there on the internet. There are a lot of people who look to challenge any of us who are doing any good work in the movement. And I think it's particularly sad when we take those lies and run with them and turn our efforts against each other. And there have been times in my 11 years of activism I've felt the need to turn attention inward to the movement. But it's terrible when it happens. I think it's generally a waste. Most people who have judged the evidence in this case for themselves, who have bothered to get into that, have realized that there's a lot of lying involved here, to put it mildly.
Yeah,
and,
I don't even know what he's referring to, and the amount of time I spend on internal drama within the libertarian movement, I'm so tired of hearing people attacking one another within the liberty movement. It's like we were saying before, focus on something positive. Focus on, if you don't like somebody, ignore them and go focus on your project.
Out hustle them.
Yeah. Hey, are you just curious? Since we're going and we saw you there last year, are you going to be in Acapulco this year?
Doesn't look like it this year. I still have not been paid what I was promised as a speaking fee for last year of a gold sponsorship or equivalent. So I'm at this point, at least without that resolved, I won't be there.
Understood. And it sounds like yet another one of these internal conflicts within the liberty movement. It's just sad that we've all had to deal with this stuff. The more visible that you are, the more targeted that you become, and all the good work that you've done gets set aside, and people will always just focus on the one thing they don't like.
I kind of think you're an idiot, though.
What?
I got some very good advice when I was first getting started in activism by a woman who I was dating, who had been a long time sort of organizational activist, great woman, was helping out Iraq veterans against the war. And this was just as I was becoming a public figure as an anti-war veteran activist. And she said, listen, if you're going to be in the public eye at all, you're going to spend 5 to 10% of your time dealing with utter nonsense BS. Mm-hmm. If you stand up in a room in front of 100 people, somebody in that room is having the worst day they've had in 100 days, maybe worse. They're dealing with their own problems, their own issues, and the best you can do is accept that that's just a part of the cost of doing business. Never let it overtake your mind or stress you out.
Right.
Stay focused on what's positive, what's founded in love, and what's satisfying for yourself. And everybody struggles with that, and that's true not just about activism. There's some truth in there that's really, really applies to everybody in life. But, as activists and certainly in the movement, I see we all struggle with that. There's a lot of intense emotion involved in what we do, and saying that we are standing up to what we see as the greatest evil in society. I mean,
you're doing good work, Adam. There's no doubt about it.
Any less than that.
We appreciate your efforts here on Free Talk Live, and I'm grateful that you spent an hour with us here tonight. Thank you, and keep in touch. Let us know of any other interesting stories from the road. I appreciate your time, dude.
Thank you very much.
Hey, real quick, what's the best website?
Tell everybody to go and help the book bomb there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
TheFreedomLine.com, that's his best site for right now. Check out Adam out over there. He's also got a great YouTube channel as well. Adam Kokesh, we'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you, if you're going to stick with us, for the Twitch After Show. Go to twitch.lrn.fm. We'll start that here in moments.
Free Talk Live.
Pushing women to the ground with a camera in her hand, I think a real man wouldn't do that. And you got to be on roids or something to get into that state of mind.
Well, Wayne hit it on the head. If they're not on steroids, and a number of them, some of them are, most of them probably aren't. They're not on steroids, maybe, but they're definitely high on adrenaline. Former drug task force officer, when he started with the police, he would get that adrenaline rush from writing a ticket. And then, of course, he acclimated himself to it, and then he needed something else. He needed to escalate. He needed to have something else. So it got so extreme that he would leave